two things, two thoughts on it. One is when I used to bring up to Steve, but in the Prosperous Coach, it says, and eventually he told me, Dave, we're never talking about the Prosperous Coach again. He said, that's the Old Testament. We live in the New Testament. Prosperous Coach is simply literature. It means nothing more. We've moved past that. So he might tell you, he tells that no cold calling because that audio was meant for a level of coach who wouldn't know what to do with the cold call and who would mess it up. Okay. But then if you actually know what you're doing, then cold calling comes like back in to being a very valuable thing to do. So I'm not giving you an answer one way or another. I'm just saying, like, I was really surprised when I would bring these things to Steve and say, but the rule is, and he goes, no, Dave, that's not the rule. Either that was the rule or that's the rule for everybody else, but you're not everybody else. So that rule doesn't apply to you. Steve was constantly telling me that stuff and getting me off of my set tracks on how I have to do things. So the other piece, Quinton, is there's a book I'll send you that Steve wrote called Business Coaching or Coaching Businesses or something like that, that lays out all the systems and all the nitty gritty for how to work with a business, how to enroll them, how to find the opportunity. It's all shit you already know. It's just going to be packaged up maybe in a way that makes it feel like, oh, I could go out and I could do this. I could make this happen. But at the end of the day, I wrote in my notes as you were speaking, you can't get there from there. Meaning your calendar is thinning out. It's creating fear. And you're trying to get to a not scared place from a scared place. And it doesn't work that way. So the only way I can get you to where you want to be, full practice, not stressed, all of that, is to get you to be the person who has a full practice and is not stressed. And this is what Steve was always, he didn't do it in a way that I was able to understand it at the time, but he was always trying to get me to understand this dying before battle idea that the samurai do, where they meditate and they watch themselves lose and die. And that way they're able to go in and fight fearlessly because the worst they've already experienced it. And Steve wasn't wrong in trying to get me to see this, but I really struggled with how to own it. And now what I'm understanding is I get to have the life that I want, whatever it looks like, because I get myself into the place where there's nothing between me and the life that I want. So with all of your free time, and hopefully this will make sense if you go back and watch it, with the free time in your calendar, these days when I have free time in my calendar, I will literally, Quinton, either go upstairs and hang out with Kelly. We spent all morning talking about aliens. It was so much fun. Or if she's at work or I'm feeling anything that's not just positive and happy, I will sit here and I will do Ho'oponopono on any judgment that I can find, because it's only those judgments that are stopping me from doing whatever action would get me the result that I say I so desperately want. I so desperately want more clients. Okay, go get more clients. Well, I can't because, that's the Ho'oponopono. Whatever the I can't because, that's the judgment I work on. And if all I do all day is sit quietly in this room and talk to nobody and clean judgments, I will have a full practice by the end of the month. Willing to, that can be how you create all of your clients. If you're willing to. And I say that, I use that language specifically because what you're doing is what I do to create clients. It's what Gary does to create clients. And it works better than anything else I've ever tried in terms of enrollment.
What is that specifically?
You're seeing an opportunity. You put something out into the world. It resonated with somebody. I'm not a coach anymore, Quinton. I'm professionally me. I'm just me as a profession full time, and I'm paid for it. Okay. When I give up the idea that I have to be doing this coaching thing, whatever that looks like all the time, and I give myself permission to simply make people's lives better and be paid for it, it takes away a lot of the rules and regulations I have around myself. And so then I'm able to go online and post a picture of whatever art piece I'm making, and somebody comments, "Oh, I love this." And I say, "Oh, so thank you so much for saying that. By the way, how are you?" And then we start talking, and then that conversation may end. We may have more conversations, or they may become a client. I don't know. but I have so many of those running at any given time, and I'm investing and building those bank accounts so not intentionally, but like so powerfully, I guess it's a weird word to say, but I'm putting a lot of energy into serving these people. And then when it comes time for me to need a client, either one of them also happens to sync up and they need a coach and we come together and start working together. Or if it's not quite in alignment yet, I look for who of these people would I like to be my next client, and I bring them in and I tell them, and then we get them dialed in, and then I have my next client. So like, you don't ever have to do anything more than that. What I'm hearing is when there's downtime, where your instinct takes you, where you go is old systems, processes, things that you would do that feel familiar, and you know what result they're intended to get. The cold calling is a great example of that. You know how to do it, not scary. It's challenging for a lot of people. So you doing it feels like I'm doing something that other people aren't willing to do. The only problem is it's not getting a result, right? It's not getting you anything tangible. What I would love for you to do is look for edges that will create cleaning for you. So to break that down more, one of the reasons I decided to become an artist and then talked about it like crazy. I don't talk about new stuff that I'm doing until I'm good at it. I started talking about being an artist before I had any credibility. I still don't have any credibility, and I tell everybody about it. Clients that pay me lots of money to coach them, I spend valuable coaching time talking about being an artist like I'm doing here. The reason I do that, one of the reasons is I am running out of easy judgments and easy blocks in my life for me to do my cleaning on. So because of that, I'm going to create something that's very scary, that's very disruptive, that really messes with my sense of who I am and how my world works and keeping myself safe. And I'm going to put it out there just so that I get shitty responses, just so that people can look at what I've done and go, okay, that's weird. That's about it. Like I don't get a ton. It's not all positive. And I do that because I want somebody to look at something that took me 40 or 50 hours of my life to do. That was incredibly stressful, that pulled me away from my family and other things. And I want them to look at it and go, so that I can then work on whatever judgment I have in me. Judgment about myself as an artist, judgment about their inability to understand something cool when they see it, judgment about whatever it is. I'm creating opportunities for myself to clean because the easy ones are done. Money's not going to be, I mean, I clean on money sometimes because I do get worried every once in a while about it, but it's not, I can't get myself to like really get upset because I know how stupid it is. But the art, that's a new area, very vulnerable. I can easily get myself offended and upset in that arena, which is what I want to do because I'm showing myself all my weaknesses that I can then work on and fix. So what I want you to do, Quinton, your instinct is going to be, I got all this open space in my calendar. I should go cold call some companies or DM them. No. What's a way of doing that if it worked would be way more effective than the DMing, but is scary? Something that might put you in a position to have an interaction you don't want to have. And I want to look at that. I'm not good enough to be doing the thing that I'm doing. So once I recognize I've captured a judgment in my mind, I speak to myself as myself. Thank you, David, for showing me I have more cleaning to do. When I say that, I'm speaking to this old version of me. I'm speaking to my personality, my ego, the parts of my brain who spend all their time making me wrong in order to keep me safe. And so I'm just acknowledging that they've shown me something new that they're still hanging on to. Thank you, David, for showing me I still have cleaning to do. I am sorry that old judgments inside of me are keeping you, David, from moving forward, from progressing, are creating this situation for you. Please forgive me for allowing this way of being you, where you view yourself as not an artist and not worthy of this success. Please forgive me for allowing this way of being in you to continue from my old childhood traumatic judgments that I'm still carrying around. I love you. I always tell myself I love you at the end. But that's it, Quinton. Every judgment I have, I split myself in two. There's the David I am now, currently in front of you today, who is being reinvented by the universe every moment of every day and has the opportunity to become somebody different at the drop of a hat. There's that guy, but he's being influenced and held down by the old version of me from 5 minutes ago that had a lot of beliefs and a lot of past history and a lot of shit that he's carrying around. And this old version of me is always saying to my new version, careful, don't do anything too big, because we have a long history of you fucking stuff up. So we don't want that to happen again. So be very, very careful what you do. And so the way I get through this, Quinton, is I have that conversation. I forgive the old scared part of me. I say first, I thank it. Thank you, old scared Dave, for showing me that there's still judgments and things we're hanging on to. I'm sorry, old scared Dave, that this is holding us back, that you are still carrying these around. Please forgive me for allowing you to keep me small with all your fears and old stories you have about yourself. I love you. You're not wrong. I love you. But we're not going to do it that way anymore. Now that we've cleaned up that judgment, we're going to leave it behind. You don't need to keep bringing that judgment up to keep me safe, old Dave. That's not helpful. We're just going to move forward now. But thank you. And if it comes up again, I go, oh, it's here again. Okay, let's clean on it one more time. Thank you for showing me that this is still part of us. I'm sorry that you're still bringing it up and using it to stop us from living the best life we possibly could. Please forgive me for allowing you to limit us with your old judgments. I love you. Now we move forward. That's how I get myself making art. Otherwise, I couldn't.
Okay, I think I need to just so what do I do then? I mean, like, do I just look for these things that make me uncomfortable?
Yes,
and
because
do
if they
those
didn't make you uncomfortable, Quinton, you'd be posting 5 times a day. If you knew how good everything you're saying really is and how influential it is to the people that read it, I wouldn't be able to stop you from posting. But you have a judgment that your words aren't powerful. You have a judgment that other people are reading what you're saying and thinking, who the fuck is this guy? This is worthless. You have a lot of these judgments floating around. And so those judgments are, number one, going to limit how often you post. Number two, when you do post, you're not going to post as powerfully because you're going to be trying to make it digestible to this imaginary audience that you imagine is judging you. And you're going to be so much more sensitive to any feedback coming back that doesn't align with what you're already looking for, that the danger of you getting a message that you're not good at this and stopping early is very high. So if you can clean up those judgments so that they can still be there. They can be fears for as long as they need to be, but I don't want them influencing you and dictating your behavior. That's what I'm trying to stop. I just want to be in conversation, because that's not true, Quinton. You want to be in conversation with the right people. You want to be in conversation with the right people about the right topics. You want to be in conversation with the right people about the right topics, leading to the opportunity for you to coach them. Like, I want to get so clear on what the outcome goal is. What are we trying to create with each of these? Because that then allows us to better identify the judgments that are stopping you from doing it. Because if I make it just vague, I just want to be in conversation. Well, that gives me 2 outs. I can have lots of conversations and create no coaching clients and go, well, at least I'm having conversations. And I give myself an out. I make it okay that I'm not creating anything. Or I say, I want to have lots of conversations, but I just can't figure out how to have enough. If I could just have more. And again, I make it outside of myself. And so what I want to do is I want to get really clear. You want to have the right conversations with the right people about the right topics with a chance to move forward and coach together. Okay, that may mean you have 1 conversation a week. And the other 4 days of the week, you spend creating that 1 conversation. And then at every Friday, we spend 4 days just researching, messaging, building. And then on Friday, you have 1 conversation and it's the right one. And you end up signing 1 new client a week. I don't think you'd have a problem with that. I think within a month, your practice would be full, right? So I want us to get clear so we can identify the judgments that are yes and. I give you permission to grow. I give you permission to change and evolve between our calls. If I give you that permission, I can't coach you the same, and I can't give you the same advice if it no longer applies to you, just because I'm trying to stay consistent with whatever I think I remember telling you last time. You move very, very quickly. You and Sean are my two clients. I've never had two clients progress as quickly through these different levels of the consciousness and the being and the understanding. You're moving up so fast that what to you feels like I'm changing what I'm telling you. I am technically. My feeling inside of my body is, no, I'm just giving you the 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 version of
That's what I mean.